It's July 3rd. It's a very big day for Bitcoin and crypto, in that we are now seeing some pretty significant cookie crumbs starting to confirm that this ETF rumor mill that we're all starting to buy into is actually more than a rumor mill. We're seeing major asset managers say that this has been confirmed behind the scenes that this ETF is going to go live. And we can only imagine that Bitcoin being a significantly higher performing asset once again than the rest of the civilized, quote, regulated investment world, well, being able to allocate to Bitcoin through your normal stockbroker, that's going to change the absolute game. There's also some pretty crazy news around Vitalik and ETH staking. We're going to dive into literally all of it today, as well as go through some of the absolute carnage going on in the NFT space and what I think about that space. So buckle up. Today's going to be another good episode. As you guys can tell, I'm trying to get out a huge amount of content here in this early cycle. This is when the true difference is made. Before bull mania kicks off again, and before people actually genuinely understand that a new cycle has started, that's where this doubt, this disagreement in the market creates opportunities. Once up only becomes the meme again, it is very difficult to get an edge over your fellow comrade crypto investor. In the end, it's always about timing. It's always about figuring out how to enter into the right things at the right time. And that's why I think these early cycles, these pre-halving buys, these pre-halving moments are so important and still quite controversial. First off, let's rip the band-aid on this one. Apparently, there's been a response from the SEC Gov's PR team when they asked if the rumors about Gary Gensler, remember yesterday we covered a rumor about Gary Gensler being fired, or effectively that he resigned under political pressure. And we've heard nope. We don't know really if this is fully dispositive that, okay, for sure, he's not going to resign. We know he's under a ton of political pressure, and there's a lot of reasons why he very well might resign. But as of right now, it has not been confirmed. Fingers crossed that we see this evolve over the coming weeks and months. Again, all crypto wants is a fair shot. So if Gary doesn't resign and starts to give crypto as an industry a fair look, it's all good. I think there's all good things happening for crypto, especially when we look in other jurisdictions like the United Kingdom. This is not third world countries, right? This is not Central America. This is the UK, one of the leading financial hubs in the world, saying, hey, look, we're going to have a distinct legal category for crypto. We're going to create regulations so that people can come here, innovate, and know that they're standing on firm ground. This is going to push America. This is going to push other countries, like Hong Kong's pushing, like Dubai's pushing, UAE, like UK is pushing, like Switzerland's pushing. There are now several major jurisdictions trying to be home for crypto. So again, the race is on, and it's only a matter of time before the US sets up its own crypto regulatory hub. That's my prediction. Of course, Bitcoin has been very resilient around the news that, hey, look, the ETF filing rejections or revisions were exactly what we had hoped, just technicalities. Check this out. We actually see that there's already an agreement in place dated in mid-June between BlackRock and Coinbase specifying the surveillance and data sharing agreement that will be carried out. This was exactly the part of the application the SEC had the most interest in. We can see that these details are very much so already a part of this. So we've seen that a lot of the doubts that people might have had around the Bitcoin ETF are being answered here. And Bernstein, which is a $650 billion asset manager, says the SEC is likely to approve a Bitcoin spot ETF. Again, all the pieces of the puzzle are coming together. Bitcoin's price, incredibly resilient, absolutely refusing to lose here. And to me, it just shows the charts never lie here. The smart money is piling into Bitcoin because they believe that a Bitcoin spot ETF is pretty much likely. I mean, this is a split the world in two moment. There's before the Bitcoin ETF, and then there's after the Bitcoin ETF. The ability for pension funds, for the biggest investors, for all kinds of massive funds to get their hands on Bitcoin through a simple regulated process like an ETF. This is unparalleled. This is a new paradigm, in my opinion. And while the price effect might not be instant, over time, as Bitcoin catches its waves, as it always does, well, it's bound to attract orders of magnitude more capital than before. And that means that all of the capital will start to push the crypto industry skyward. This is why they didn't want to approve one, but now they're waving the white flag and just saying, you know what, it is time. And that means that the upside potential in crypto could be astronomical. But it's not all sunshine and roses, as we have this very weird clip coming out of Vitalik, essentially saying he's not staking his ETH. And I'm going to play the clip for you. It says, because if you stake your ETH, the keys to access it have to be on a public system somewhere online. For safety, it has to be a multi-sig. Multi-sig for staking is fairly difficult to set up. It gets complicated in a bunch of ways. Now, I'm going to be completely honest with you. This is not what you want to hear, okay? This is not what you want to hear. In fact, as Charles Hoskinson, obviously the creator of Cardano, a competitive system to Ethereum, says, I had to listen to this a few times. I'm just at a loss for words. All of our ADA is staked. Guess what? That's how it's supposed to be for a properly designed proof of stake protocol. Here's the clip just so you guys can understand what's happening here.
Yeah, I'm not like just staking all of my ETH and I'm instead like staking a fairly small portion is because if you stake your ETH, it has to be on like the keys that access it have to be public on some system that's online. And like for safety, it has to be a multi-sig, and multi-sigs for staking are still fairly difficult to set up. It gets complicated in a bunch of ways.
Predictably, this brought the ETH haters out in full force, and to be honest, I don't have a full breakdown on exactly what Vitalik is talking about here, but suffice it to say, Vitalik not staking all of his ETH calls into question one of the very key arguments that the ETH maxi bulls are using to promote ETH as an asset long-term, saying, hey, look, this is a native sort of like zero counterparty risk, zero risk yield. It's very zero risk is the term that people are using. I'm staking quite a bit of ETH. So as an ETH staker, this is quite concerning. Obviously, I'll be looking more into this, trying to figure out what is actually going on here, and I'll keep you guys up to date. Let me know what you think about this ETH staking stuff in the comments below. It's certainly feeling like Bitcoin is having its moment in so many ways, and that this Vitalik commentary is not helping ETH stay in that same boat of extremely low risk and having all of these sort of additional qualities. Nonetheless, I'm very bullish on ETH long term. I just really want to see some experts weigh in on exactly what Vitalik is talking about here, and this sort of tail risks, the extreme cases that might lead to some kind of issues with ETH staking. Regardless, sometimes these negative ebbs and flows create price entry opportunities. We'll see. The charts certainly don't seem to be caring too much about what Vitalik's saying. Certainly with ETH up 3% on the day compared to Bitcoin's 2.2%, yeah, the charts don't seem to care at all about what Vitalik's saying here. Now in NFT news, we've actually had one of the worst weeks in the history of NFTs, and you see here Azuki, which was one of the most popular collections coming into their Vegas event last weekend, was holding at about a 17 ETH floor. In fact, they'd fluctuated between 14 and 17 for the better part of a year. And then as you can see, we have a drop from about 17 all the way down to where it is right now at 6. In fact, diving under 6 briefly just for a period of time yesterday. So what happened here? Well, the Azuki team released a new collection, which effectively made their current holders feel disrespected as they sold $40 million worth of NFTs, and that those NFTs looked almost identical to the original collection. Effectively, the Azuki community is comprised of a small group of really powerful whales that were constantly buying the floor and supporting the price for the Azuki collection. Those whales are apparently very unhappy with the decisions of the project, and pretty much widespread bloodshed across the ecosystem has taken place. If you ask me, this represents a huge capitulation event that usually starts to mark towards the bottoms of different market cycles. Now, Azuki was one of the last holdouts, one of the last strong projects in NFTs that was still holding an absurdly elevated price. And so while I don't know what the near future will hold, what I can say is the projects that remain strong through the next phase, those are ones that I am personally excited to look at. As you guys know on this channel, my core belief is that gaming is the vehicle that takes NFTs to the masses. Gaming is the only product really that makes sense to take crypto at the current stage in time to the masses, because these are circular digital economies. I believe 100% that the gaming bull run is one of the few things that I can truly count on here in crypto land as far as narratives, and that's why I'm so excited for the next run, where there's tons of cool games coming out. There's tons of amazing digital economies that will be built on crypto, and the future is strong. For now, the traditional sort of mainstream NFT space is truly hurting, and to some, this might be a buying opportunity. For me, I'm focused squarely on building the best crypto gaming projects in the entire industry and stocking up on the coins that I think are going to do well next cycle. As always, if you guys want to hear more deep dives, I've been doing a lot more content lately. I'm covering everything from sort of the higher up news, and I'm going to start doing a little bit more on individual narratives and pockets of crypto and how I think they all work together. But for now, it's so early cycle that things like Bitcoin and ETH are really where a lot of the smart money is flocking. The stuff a little further out the risk curve will only blossom as Bitcoin and ETH sort of work their way up to new highs. To be very clear, this is the quiet time where everyone thinks you're absolutely nuts for buying things like NFTs, altcoins, and this is exactly the way it was in 2019. Nobody thought it was a smart idea to be buying altcoins. It had been so long since we'd seen a real altcoin season. Nobody thought it was a good idea to be buying anything but Bitcoin. And once the new cycle properly kicked off, Bitcoin did go on its run, but everything else went on an absolute gargantuan tear, and that's just how crypto behaves during bull markets. So yes, I'm stocking up on my Bitcoin, but I'm also stocking up on things that I believe will repeat history, because we all know that even if history doesn't repeat, it definitely rhymes. As always, I'm EllioTrades. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to click on this one. It's even better than this video just watched. We'll be keeping you up to date, in touch with the most important events across the entire crypto space. And so if you enjoy that, make sure you subscribe, and I'll see you very soon on the next episode.